This is the Unbound Book Babes, and we want to welcome back all of the unbound, unhinged, and unbothered book babes that are joining us for another news episode of what's going on in the bookish world. So I guess today we'll start with the upcoming releases. You want to talk about some stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah.
We have one that we're both very excited about. The next book in the Salacious Players Club is going to be Madame, which is by Cate, and that book will be out on October 12th. I am very excited, but also very nervous because I wasn't a huge fan of Rowan Cade's story. What was that, The Highest Bidder?
Yeah, Highest Bidder. It was my least favorite of the books, for sure.
Yeah, so big shoes to fill coming out of a bit of a slump, in my personal opinion. Up next on October 13th, so not a lot of turnaround time there, we have Hopeless by Elise Silver. And this is going to be Beau's story in Chestnut Springs. It's a super cute little romance series. It's a little tiny town up in Canada. I want to say it's like outside of Calgary. So Beau is the middle brother, and he is a war vet. He was missing for one of the books. He was missing in action.
Oh, wow.
So now we get his love story.
Yeah, that's cool.
All of those ones. They're just super cute. They're so fun. Very, realistic, so the drama's not, over the top. The women are well-rounded. It's just a super cute series. And then, to go the opposite direction into incredibly dark romance, I don't even know if these count as dark romance. What's darker than dark? What's blacker than black?
What's the name of that super black, all-consuming particle?
I don't know. This is like a black hole of romance. Obsidian?
What is it called? Vanta Black is a class of super black coatings with total hemispherical reflexances below 1% in the visible spectrum. So it is wildly dark black. It's
what's it called again?
Vanta Black.
Okay, so this is a Vanta Black dark romance series. And it's not really a series. I don't know what it's called. It's not really, it's like a group of books because you don't have to read them in any particular order. It's just a bunch of books in the same universe with the same rules. Anyways, this has been a lot of build-up. But for me personally, there's a lot of build-up for this book. It is Carnage by Shantel Tessier. And this is the Cade brothers, who are a part of the Lords, but operate outside of the Lords. And that will be released October 31st.
Happy Halloween, bitches.
So the Cade... I cannot think of a happier Halloween than this release.
Speaking of Halloween, yes, I am dressed up. I'm just going to point that out now early in the episode. If you're watching this on video, I'm aware that I'm dressed up. You can continue.
Yes, well, everybody hop in the comments. First, you're going to like and subscribe to the channel. You're going to turn on your little post notifications. Give us a like, a subscription, and then hop into the comments and guess who Bobby is dressed as for this week's episode. I'll wait until you're done with all of that. All right, thanks for coming back. Also, Carnage and the Cade brothers. This is one of these guys who has that tattoo that I sent you a screenshot of the description.
Oh, yeah.
The nun. The nun with the upside down cross and some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I still giggle. This guy has multiple tattoos, but I still giggle about what if that was your only tattoo?
I wish I didn't have any tattoos because I would just go get it just to be now we know how we feel about it.
A bold tattoo. So let us know in the comments, do you have pre-orders for any of those books? Do you have pre-orders for any of them? Madam? I got Hopeless and Carnage. So super excited for those. Pre-orders, get your pre-orders in. We're going to show a TikTok video of Sim Kern. So Sim Kern just put out a book, and she's going to explain all of this in the video. But a quick rundown. She put out a book. It hit the USA Today best-selling list. And so her friend was like, "You must be just rolling in the dough." And she was like, "No, So she's going to break down her earnings from this book and how you get paid as an author who went through a publishing company. And in a previous episode, which we can link, we did an episode about Amazon, the Kindle Unlimited's, is it KDP?
Yeah.
So we did an episode about that and how authors, so it is tough. It's tough to make a living as an author.
Yeah, as we learned in this video.
If that is your only gig, that's tough. Mm-hmm. And a lot of authors have side gigs of like writing textbooks, writing manuals, ghost writing. All right, I will stop rambling and roll clip.
I love this creator. How I know about them. They put on the trans readathon that happened earlier this year. Yeah, they put it together and really pushed it through like TikTok and stuff and Instagram. I know of them mostly through Instagram. But they have great content. They are an author, and that's what they are going to talk about and how much they made doing so, as Kristen prefaced. So let's go ahead and start. And then, Kristen, you just let me know when you are ready to pause.
I don't know how much I'll have to say. They pretty much say it all.
Yeah.
So a friend recently was calling me to congratulate me on my book, The Free People's Village, being a bestseller. And she was like, "Oh my God, you must be making bank now."
I don't know if they talk about it in this book, in this clip, what that book is about. So the story that hit the USA bestsellers is The Free People's Village. And the story focuses on a white English teacher, Maddie Ryan, who joins a black-led group of activists fighting to save their neighborhood from being torn down to make way for a new electromagnetic hyperway. Oh, and she also plays in a queer punk band. And this is set in a world where in the 2000 election, Al Gore won the election and they fought climate change they fought a war on climate change instead of a war on terror.
Interesting. Thanks for the synopsis on that, so we have an idea of more context to their book. All right.
No. So I wanted to make a video actually explaining, like, I'm going to do something I'm not supposed to do, which is talk about real numbers of how much I've been paid for this book, what it would take for me to make more money on this book, and how many books I actually sold to become a bestseller. And I'm not supposed to do that because these numbers are all probably a lot smaller than you think. And as authors, we're supposed to project nothing but success and winning on social media. But like I've learned past week about what realistic expectations should be for a book release. And I think it's valuable. And I'm also going to tell you, just because this content, mine, needs to be constantly fed. And so today I'm going to feed you with this story. So I spent an entire year writing this book and then sold it to Levine Corrido, which is an independent press, for $20,000. 20 grand for a year's worth of work. Now for an independent press, that's actually that's a great advance. I had never made 5 figures before. My previous 3 books, which sold to independent presses, were all 4-figure advances. Well, you don't get like 20 grand because you actually get paid twice. So I got paid once upon signing, and then I got paid when they accepted the final manuscript after another year of edits. So, and then my agent took a 10% cut. Usually it's 15%, but in this case, because I actually sold the book and the agent I got my agent mid-deal. I was between agents when I made the sale. So she only took 10%. So I got 9 grand for the first years of work of actually writing the book. And then I got 9 grand for the year's worth of editing we did.
So they talk about those are it's a year for a year worth of effort and writing to get that first transcript. And then another year almost roughly to get that final acceptance. So that's $18,000 over 2 years, less probably another 30 to 40% in taxes out of that, depending on their tax situation. That comes out to pennies.
Yeah.
Pennies per hour.
Wild.
It's not a lucrative career field for, I want to say the bottom 50% when I was looking up like how much authors make. And I want to say the top 1% of authors is over $275,000 like per book. But if a book takes you 2 years to write, I mean, that's still a lot of money in 2 years. But the bottom 50% of authors are only going to be pulling in $1,300 per book to like $20,000.
That perspective is wild.
Yeah. And that's just people, that's just authors that go through a publisher.
Very far from a living wage in terms of what it actually takes to write a book. So 2021, I was writing the book. 2022, I was editing the book. 2023, I have been heavily marketing this book on TikTok. I've been trying to make a promotional video about it every couple days. All that promo, all the TikToks I had that happened to get, 10,000, 20,000 views, all that added up to my pre-order sales, which go into your first week book sales. And this book came out September 12th, and in the first week that it was available in stores, all the pre-orders combined, plus all the books that it sold that week, made it hit the bestseller list. This was the USA Today bestseller list, which ranks the 150 best-selling books. New York Times only does 10. USA Today does 150. It's also more based on pure sales, though, because like New York Times is more of an editorial list. Like they kind of pick books that they like.
I did not know the difference between the USA Today and New York Times bestsellers list. So that was fascinating to understand that, New York Times is an editorial version, whereas USA Today is more akin to actual sales numbers.
USA Today is more, I think, like purely based on sales. We were 86th. We were the 86th best-selling book that week. But that's actually really amazing for an independent press book. Like, I don't want to diminish that accomplishment at all because it's really incredible to hit that list with an indie press.
Also, cheers to them for recognizing the small things won and giving it its light in that moment because, we were just celebrating having over 100 views on one of our videos finally. So, like, you gotta celebrate the small stuff in this world of creativity and keep a positive vibe.
Book, and that's because of massively, a ton of support from independent booksellers who really embrace this book, and also, all of the TikTok grinding and content grinding I've been doing, trying to get word out there about this book, because we don't have a billionaire publishing company behind us to do the marketing and to buy placements in Barnes & Nobles on tables and end caps, which is how, buy tons of Amazon ads and Goodreads ads, which is how major publishers make their books become bestsellers. So how many books actually sold? I had no idea when the bestseller list came out how many books had actually sold. And I thought, wow, well, maybe, I was thinking maybe we've sold thousands of books. But I asked my editor, and the number was so much smaller than that. So I sold about 650 copies of this book in that week. That includes all the pre-orders that I managed to drum up over the course of many months. And again, that's really amazing. The vast majority of books don't hit the bestseller list at all, ever. Not in their first week, not ever. So it's great that we did. Again, I don't want to diminish that accomplishment, but we only sold 650 books. So then I asked my editor, okay, how many books do I have to sell to earn out my advance? Because, see, I don't get to make royalties on this book until I earn out my advance, which means the amount of profit I'm entitled to, which is 10% on hardcovers, a bigger percentage on ebooks. When that amount added up equals what they paid me in my advance, then I get to start making royalties on this book. So I asked my editor, how many books do we have to sell for me to start making royalties? We have to sell 7,500 books. So we're not even close. Now, they are confident that we will. They are confident that sales are going to remain steady. In fact, they're so confident, they've actually they're ordering a new print run. The first print run was 10,000 books. They've already printed 10,000 books. They're so confident they're going to sell all 10,000 of those that they ordered another print run. But to me, that's kind of overwhelming because I kind of had this thought that okay, after the book comes out, I can kind of chill on making TikToks constantly about it. But We've only sold 650. We gotta sell another, 9,500 or whatever. And I have to keep grinding and making this content because it's such a great book and it deserves it. And I shouldn't complain because I'm very grateful to have a bestseller. And the way publishing works, I get to use that. I get to claim that bestseller title forever. I am now a best-selling author. I get to say that forever. This is now a best-selling book. I get to say that forever. Even though it was only on the bestseller list for 1 week, it still counts and it's still a huge accomplishment. And maybe it's inspiring to some of y'all authors out there to know you only have to sell like 650 bucks to get on the bestseller list in 1 week. That's less than I would have thought. What is my point? One point is I could not possibly do this if my spouse wasn't an engineer. We kind of had this little trade-off where I put him through engineering school back when I was a teacher. Now he's an engineer and he's subsidizing my writing career, which is fantastic. But this is a huge reason that publishing skews towards more privileged individuals. To be able to stick it out for years on end, grinding and hoping you'll have a book that becomes a success, and then you have a bestseller, and it's like you can have a bestseller and still be years away from making any more money on that book. If we really want to have more diverse voices in publishing and have publishing be something that's accessible to everyone, we'd have to do what Iceland does. So I met these Icelandic authors at Worldcon last year, and all of them get paid a salary from the government just to write books in Icelandic. Can you imagine? A nice salary, a nice, comfortable salary to be an author. In the US, it's just almost impossible to make a living as an author. It's very, very, very few, even among the authors who are best-selling authors.
I'd like to point out that I am going to now learn Icelandic and be able to write in Icelandic so I can go move to Iceland and be an author and write in Icelandic and get paid a salary for that. That's all.
Very, very, very few are actually making a living off of it. Most of them that I know either have spouses who support them or they're still working another full-time job. And I do have another job, which is doing the majority of the childcare and domestic labor for my family, which is real labor. And that is what I am contributing to society in addition to my books. Anyways, please, if you love the Free People's Village, will you post about it? Will you tell somebody about it?
So it didn't bring up buying back books.
Well, they didn't.
Mm-mm.
I'm not exactly sure where I got that information from. Maybe it was that BuzzFeed article, or maybe it was one of the comments. I don't know. Somewhere I got in my head that part of the advance goes to placing 5,000 copies in bookstores.
Oh.
However, somebody said, again, I don't know if it was the comments or a BuzzFeed article or in Sim Kern's video. I can't remember. But somebody said if the bookstore doesn't sell your book, they return it to the publishing company to get their money back. And then obviously that goes against your advance and against your count.
Oh, wow.
But I really appreciate them making this video, the transparency in this video for anybody that is an aspiring author or, or sitting here being like, why is my author friend acting like they're poor? They're probably rolling in the dough. And more importantly, from where we sit, I think it's really important, like you said, to go out and buy those hard copies, those ebooks, go out and support the authors that you like. I know for a lot of people, especially like you and me, that read an incredible amount of books each year, it can be really hard to go out and buy every single book. But if you find somebody and you find them on Kindle Unlimited or at the library, and you read that first book and you just absolutely love it and you can't put that series down, go out and buy the remainder of the series, right? Go, really support them with your dollar, sharing on social media, Goodreads, writing reviews, Google reviews, Amazon, there's a ton of ways to share with other people that might be buying the book, reviews, and buying the book yourself. There's so many ways to support your authors. And when they do events, right? When they go out and do book signings and it's $20 to go to the book signing, or those like live events like SJM just did, right? Where you pay to watch the interview, you know, and any way that you can support them, because that's quite literally how they make money, is your support, right? It's no different than an actor, an athlete. Yeah, I'll get off my soapbox now. So I did want to say, I just know for a fact that there are going to be some people, a certain subsect group of people that are going to be upset about the content of their book and the direction that they went with having Al Gore win the 2000 election. Listen, look and listen. 1, it's fucking fantasy. Okay? Just hold your horses right there. Fucking relax. 2, go out, buy the book, read it. If you don't like it, buy a second copy, burn that second copy. 3, there are literally books out there about if Hitler won World War II. It's called The Man in the High Tower. Amazon made a TV show about it. TV show fucking sucks. Did you see me crying in the streets? No, you did not, because that would be fucking silly. It's a fucking book. Chill out. If you don't like, eat a fucking moon pie, drink some Mountain Dew. It's a fucking book. Relax. Okay, now I'll get off my soapbox.
I was just going to say, I thought you were getting off your soapbox. So, a couple weeks ago, in our video about Drew Barrymore, which we'll link up there if you didn't get to see it, we talked
over there, or somewhere up there.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be... It's somewhere. It's one of the places. You know the drill. We talked about how she was kindly asked, or her invitation to host the 75th Annual National Books Awards was rescinded. Find out more and why in that video. But they published the list of the 25 finalists who will be awarded.
Did we make the cut?
No, we are not authors.
Oh, I thought you meant to replace Drew Barrymore.
Oh, no, I wish. I don't know. I didn't find if they found a host yet, actually. I did not look that part up. But they are having special guests. They are having special... to fucking shut up. They're having...
So, in fact, OPE is actually short for Oprah, and the Midwest use it like crazy.
Queen Oprah. Oh. So, special guests, Oprah Winfrey, Rita Dove, and Paul Yamazaki. The finalists all win $1,000 and a bronze medal, and then the winners win $10,000 and a bronze statue. And there's a translator category. The translators have to split the winnings with the author, which I think is kind of, I mean, they both did a lot of work there. Like, let's give them...
I hope Oprah wins. I know she really needs the money after that whole Maui debacle.
She's a special guest. She doesn't have a book on the list.
Should have just let you finish this before I started making jokes.
It's okay. So I wanted to cover those who are nominated from the fiction section. There's fiction, nonfiction, poetry, translation, and something else. History? I don't know. So I read fiction and fantasy, so I was curious what was on the fiction list. So first person,
Makes sense.
gonna butcher your name, sweet person, because this is a very Nana. My confidence.
Kwame?
Nana Kwame Adjei-Brenyah.
Sounds right to me.
I'm so sorry. Chain Gang All Stars, which is a fiction about the horrors of incarceration. Were you gonna say something? It's fiction about the horrors of incarceration. So it's got real elements to it, but it's a fictional story. Yeah, it's a fictional story about very nonfiction topic.
Walking a fine line there, Nana.
So the next person is Aaliyah, Tempel Folk.
Bilal?
Bilal?
Ilal? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. These names are so hard, you guys. Please Just
Here's what I think you should do. I think you should absolutely butcher the next name. Just
it's the easiest
add
one.
letters. I know, and that's why you should, to just level the playing field.
Okay.
Absolutely butcher it. Palal R.
Okay, so but back to Aaliyah Bilal wrote Tempel Folk, which is Black Muslims grappling with family, faith, and freedom in America. Paul Harding, This Other Eden, enduring testament to the struggle to preserve human dignity in the face of intolerance. And then
I'm so sorry. I'm just going to ask again. Are you super sure these are fiction?
Yeah. That's what they said in the list.
I don't know if the award givers know what fiction is.
Yeah, I mean, we can double check really quick. It's from the Literary Hub, the Hub. Fiction. Here they are. Yeah. I mean, so the categories are fiction, nonfiction, poetry, translated literature, and young people's literature. So the next person on the list is Hanna Pylvainen, The End of Drum Time, richly atmospheric saga that charts the repercussions of a scandalous 19th-century love affair. It's like the first one that actually sounds like fiction.
Sounds like Scarlet Letter, and I hate to point it out, but it's already been done before.
And then Justin Torres, Blackouts, a book about storytelling, its legacy, dangers, delights, and potential for change in a bold exploration of form, art, and love.
Honestly, good luck to all of the nominees. I hope you guys win.
Yeah.
I hope you all win.
Yeah.
I know it's not how competitions work, but here I am just living in a fictional world.
Not so fiction. We grew up in the era of everyone gets a fucking ribbon, so I hope you all win.
Everybody gets $1.
So, yeah, that's all I had for this week's news. I just wanted to highlight some of those, the annual awards that are happening on November 15th and some of those nominees.
Now, when you write a book, do you just get to decide? You just get to decide the category, right? So I could write a historical book that was nonfiction, and I could just say it's fiction.
Yeah, sure. Why not, right?
I see what these nominees did there. I see what they did.
Gotta change it up.
Can't pull the wool over my eyes.
So be sure to tune in for Friday's episode because we are going to be talking about Finnish folklore. I'm going to be educating Kristen all about it in context to a book that I read last year called The River of Shadows by Karina Hale. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was doing my prep for this episode. I forgot how much I like these books. So definitely be sure to tune in on Friday. We'll be looking out for you. And be sure to not forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to make sure you know when that goes live. All right. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next episode.